But it's really important to keep in mind that your worn equipment and the stuff you're bringing to a fight is actually probably the biggest part of actually taking on bosses in a lot of situations, especially when you learn. Yo, what up guys? In this video we have a submission here for Araxxi help by Ryan. Thank you, Ryan. Hopefully this helps you out. But basically what the goal is going to be here is to try and help Ryan get a more smooth and faster kill at Araxxi, actually get through the kill and make it nice and easy, and give you any advice along the way. So I do these videos just to help people when they're beginning and stuff and think they could get some advice and some feedback and stuff. So hopefully it does help you out. Now what we're going to start off by looking at here is your one equipment, then your inventory, and then like your familiar and that sort of stuff, because I can see straight away that the main things that are going to make a big difference here is going to be your worn equipment and inventory. Like a world of difference. Just from watching this first bit, you're going to see a huge jump in how well you perform here just from these. So we're going to focus just on mostly for this video. And we're going to have to go quite in depth for it and explain it out, but then we'll talk about mechanics a little bit, probably like brush over it really quickly. Let's adjust the inventory and stuff first, then you can get back to me and we'll go from there. So first of all, Spring Cleaner does nothing in this fight, and you could definitely replace this with like a Scripture of Jazz. Now I want to start this just by saying that earlier on in the clip, there is a little bit of a bank thing. I don't want to show his bank because it says bank, you know, but you do have enough cash. You have a decent cash stack to buy a Scripture of Jazz. Get yourself one, use it. It is really good. You want to use a Scripture of Jazz to boost your thing for the amount of GP it costs. Just get it, run that instead of this. Get rid of this. You're using a Demon Horn necklace here as well. Get rid of this. It's not going to help you out at Araxxi either. Just completely remove it. Could say get an Essence of Finality. You have the GP for it, but I wouldn't recommend it right now, to be honest. I would just suggest getting a Reaper's Necklace. Now, the reason being is because your biggest issue at Araxxi right now, is this here. You see it says 44%. This is your hit potential at Araxxi. Your goal right now is to get this number higher. 44% needs to be higher than this because this is the amount of damage. Basically, if you were going to hit the boss for 100 damage, you would only deal 44 because you've only got a 44% hit potential. So you need to up this to be able to actually deal enough damage to this boss to move on. You probably like noticed that you are scratching the boss really, not dealing that much damage, and you're in the fight for a while. This is what you need to be working on for sure. So a Reaper Necklace is part of an Essence of Finality, so you'll upgrade it later anyway. So grab yourself a Reaper Necklace. It'll increase your accuracy as you actually hit the boss, which is always really good. The next thing is your aura slot. You need to have an aura when PvMing, especially actual bosses like this. Now you're on Necromancy, so it's a little bit rough because there's no actual Necromancy accuracy auras. You could use the GP you've got to buy a Magia aura. This is going to increase your damage by a flat rate. It's, you know, it's damage, it's good, it's fine. Or you could get Dark Magic if you have it. You could even use something like the Equilibrium aura to increase like the damage from your conjures and stuff as well. It works well with this. But also anything that is going to increase your hit rate at other bosses with other combat styles too is worth mentioning. So if you guys are using ranged, melee, or magic, you want to be using like any accuracy aura from those, whether it's the sharpshooter ones or the supreme magic or whatever they're called, the things that increase your actual hit potential, or use maniacal for magic, reckless for ranged, and berserker for melee. But you're on necromancy, so right now Majorat, dark magic, or equilibrium aura. Next up is your ring here. You could get rid of this completely and get yourself an occultist ring, which is the new ring from the Rex Matriarch boss, the necromancy one, Osseous, whatever it's called. Get that. It's actually really cheap, like super cheap, and it's going to boost your necromancy stat a little bit, which will help you out as well. So get rid of the look of the dwarves. I would even just bank it. Don't put it in your inventory right now. Just put it in the bank. You can use this once you can get successful kills, and that way your hit chance will increase a little bit, and you don't fill up your inventory with other stuff. As for your gear, I mean, it is what it is. You're probably trying to get your Araxxi piece here to upgrade to tier 90. Well, I think it's tier 90 that you use this for. So you're probably on tier 80 here. The higher tier weapons you can get, if these aren't tier 80, because I can't actually see, the better. So if you can get them, good. But as for one equipment, there's not really much else to say. If you can get perks, then put some perks on there. But Reaper Necklace on here for accuracy. Aura on here for some extra damage. Get a Scripture of Jazz on here. And then get a occultist ring on here. Next up is your familiar. I can't actually tell what your familiar is, I'll be honest. I really can't. I've gone through trying to see if it was like a yak or something. Maybe it is, but I can't see you taking any food from it. So what you can do and what you should do at Araxxi, it's worth noting that Araxxor and Araxxi are immune to familiar damage. You can't deal damage to the boss with familiar damage. So if you have a Ripper Demon, it's not going to do anything. You want to use a Nihil here. On Necromancy, it is the Ice Nihil. You want to use that to be able to boost your accuracy at this boss. You've got Ice Nihil for Necromancy. If you're on ranged, magic, or melee, for ranged, you would use the Shadow one, the Smoke one for magic, and the Blood one for melee to increase your accuracy too. This is because it buffs the player and doesn't do anything to the actual boss. So it won't deal damage, but it's going to passively increase your hit chance on the boss here, meaning that your hit potential of damage increases because 44% is insanely low. Now you are using an overload here, which is good. I'm glad you didn't do this without overloads, because without it, your hit potential would be even lower. But one thing to note is you aren't using the Necromancy DPS buff here. You should have it because you have all the other ones here. So I'm pretty sure that you'll have the Necromancy one just down, like down the next bit, just down here. Make sure that's on, because I'm pretty sure you're not using it, right? No, you're using Soul Split. You're not using anything else. I'm not just being stupid, am I? No. Your gear is perked, by the way. You have Crackling at least, so budget perks really good. But yeah, use the Necromancy DPS curse here to increase your accuracy as well. It'll increase your hit chance and increase the damage that you deal too. So make sure that's on. This may have just been a mistake. Like it happens, you know. What can you do? This is the next kill here. Do you have it on here? I don't think you do. Maybe you don't. Is there any reason you wouldn't have this? If you don't have it, get it unlocked. I think you maybe have to like a quest for it, possibly, or talk to the person in the church. Get that on. Make sure to use this curse to get that damage out. And if you don't have it, then definitely work on it. I'm pretty sure it unlocks with these, so you should definitely have it. It's good to see that you have, let me go back to the beginning here, a super prayer renewal. This is really good. Overload super prayer renewal, gonna stop your prayer from draining as quick. Really good. Change the prayer potions to super restore flasks. This isn't a huge thing, but they're cheaper for one. They give more prayer restore for two, and they also will restore your stats. If you like drink a brew, you'll lose a couple of stats for a few seconds. If you happen to drink a restore as well at some point, it'll put that back up. It's just good to carry restore flasks instead of prayer flasks. They're cheaper anyway, so just bring them. As for your weapon poison, this might be an adrenaline potion actually. If this is an adrenaline potion, good. If it's a weapon poison, just change it and get an adrenaline potion. I'm going to assume it's adrenaline potion because weapon poison doesn't work here. So I'm just going to assume it's adrenaline. The next thing to talk about for your inventory is you're doing the challenge right now, but I don't think you have a kill just yet. Or if you have, you're not like super confident with it. So just get rid of these crystals completely. Just remove them out. Get comfortable with the boss first and then do your challenge, because this is a lot of food space, and also these portents replace these two with food too. I would genuinely just bring 2 rows of brews and then the rest of blue blubbers. I'd get rid of the portents. I'd get rid of the sailfish. You can maybe bring a couple of these for panic eating if you really want to. But again, just bring the blue blubbers and like munch them a little bit more if you need to. Keep your health nice and high. But when you have the higher hit chance, you're going to get through the fight a lot quicker, and you won't really have to worry about like taking as much damage because you're going to clear things quicker as well. So anyway, that's pretty much it for your worn equipment. I say that we're at 9 minutes. This is why I said we're going to focus mostly on that stuff for this video. But it's really important to keep in mind that your worn equipment and the stuff you're bringing to a fight is actually probably the biggest part of actually taking on bosses in a lot of situations, especially when you're learning. If you don't have the right stuff, you don't have the right buffs, you're going in a little bit like imbalanced on the end of the boss here. Let's go back in here, and you have like a 44% hit chance. You're really shooting yourself in the foot here. Like this is if you're fighting a boss and you have 44% hit potential, this needs to be a major thing to think about. But auras are absolutely huge. Getting a scripture of jazz here will be pretty big too, and all the other things that I mentioned too. So definitely work on those and make sure you've got those sorted. Right. Next thing we're going to look at is going to be just your gameplay in general. So let's just go back to the beginning here. It looks like you see here that you just used Finger of Death here. Let's go back. Where's the stacks at? You get the stacks here somewhere. There you go. So this next hit in a second is going to be Finger of Death. This one here. You hit 2.4k with a Finger of Death. That's actually crazy because of this percentage. But overall, you still use it right. You make sure to use your skeleton all the time. Let's just check if you do. So your skeleton, while it's up, just spam the living crap out of its command ability, because the command ability for skeleton is insanely good. You did use it here when you first conjured it, which is obviously really good, but just use the crap out of this. Always use it. Make sure your ghost is used at the beginning of its conjure, and then any time that skeleton's off cooldown, especially while you're on lower gear, just use it over and over and over and over again. So on this bit, you're going to see that you went through at 43k health here, and then you've gone down to start clearing the minions. What's worth noting here is when you go all the way to the end of this fight, his attacks are going to be a lot quicker than if you got to the start. So this is something that you'll learn the more you do the boss, right? So you're bringing it right to the end because you want to get these conjured. The minions spawned up so you can kill them off. That's fine if you stayed in phase 2, but you're going to notice here how fast he attacks. You see 1, 2, 3, 4, and then also he's attacking a lot quicker, but he's also going to use his different specs as well. You got these spiders to deal with. He's attacking you quicker. Let's go back to the beginning so you can see the difference. So there's one here, and then there's another one. So it's slightly faster attacks on the next phase, but you also have, I believe more attacks on this phase before he'll do a spec as well. You maybe get like 3 attacks or 4 attacks on here per spec, and on the other one you get 5, something like that. So don't run him all the way to the end. Just go through. When you do go through, first of all, just make sure that you get his health all the way down. Get him down to 5k here before going through, and then when you go through, just run back into this room here, because if you run back into this room, you have all this space here to kill the spiders off, and he's not doing his extra special attacks. He's not attacking you faster. His enrage won't be as high. You're better off going just through here, running back in, and then going from there. But also getting down to 5k first, because it stores the healing anyway, so you'll have to deal with it later anyway, and you don't want to deal with it in the last phase, because I mean, is more enrage. He hits you quicker. He hits you. He does more specs. There's more specs like the dark freaking shadows and stuff like that to deal with. So definitely deal with as much as you can in this first area here. Okay. Other than that, though, I think the main thing that you need to do at this point is just work on your gear. Make sure your prayers are on. Get the right familiar if you're not on Annihil already. Spend a little bit of GP on some upgrades and whatnot. So I'll the inventory, and then you'll be good to go. From there, pretty much, you should be absolutely fine to just see a pretty big difference. But if you don't see a big difference from here, then just chuck me another message on Discord. We'll go over it together. We'll get you there. But this has been super useful. I think this is such a big point, and no one should feel bad, by the way, if you're looking at this and thinking, oh, yeah, I actually don't use auras, and I don't use this and that. This is something that happens a lot. Like, I see this all the time with new PvMers, where you miss, like, you think, oh, it's only one piece of gear, surely it's fine. One thing makes a pretty big difference a lot of the time, especially in certain places. Like here, Araxxi, hit chance is a huge important thing, because your hit chance is always low here. It's hard to cap out on hit chance unless you have like absolute best in slot gear. So anything you can to increase this is absolutely huge. Auras, the scripture for some extra damage, whatever you can, right? Like anything like that is really important. The Nihil, all super important things. But anyway, hope this video is useful for some people. Ryan, I will send this to you first of all, and then we'll go over some stuff. Hopefully we get an improvement. Maybe we'll do part 2, and we'll show people the improvements and then any extra steps that you may need. But thanks for submitting this. I appreciate it, bro, and good luck.